Hey, third grade. Today we're going to talk more about the solar system, specifically about the sun, the earth, and the moon. So last week you guys made a craft with these pieces with the moon, the earth, and the sun. So I want you to think about what that was. So I have a little teeny tiny picture here. I haven't put mine together yet. But that's what yours ended up looking like. So think about how the earth revolves around the sun and the moon revolves around the earth. Now it takes 365 days for the earth to go all the way around the sun. That's one whole year. So here I have a globe that represents my earth, obviously. And then this light bulb over here is the sun. So today we're going to talk about how the earth rotates, but also think about how it revolves. So the earth is constantly moving around the sun. I'm going to go out of the camera really quick. It's constantly moving around the sun. It goes in a big circle all around the sun. We talked about that last week. But while it's moving all around the sun for 365 days, it's also spinning. And a fancy word for spinning is rotating. Everyone say rotate. So rotate means to spin. So you can also use your hand like this. If the earth is your hand, you could say rotate. That always helps me remember. So the earth is rotating all the time. And do you see how it kind of looks tilted? You can see this line right here. This line right here is called the equator. That's the middle of our earth. You would think that the earth looks like this, right? But it doesn't. It's actually tilted on what's called its axis. So the axis, everyone say axis. That's a vocab word that we're going to add today. Its axis is the way that the earth is tilted. It's not perfectly stood up like this. It's kind of tilt on its side. Kind of like if it was going like this and something hit it and it fell over. It is always like this. It's always tilted this way. So we know that the earth is tilted on its axis. We know that it revolves around the sun. And we know that it rotates. That means it spins. So it spins as it moves around the sun. It's very difficult to do all at once. But it's difficult to show, but the earth is doing it all the time. So if the sun, we see that the sun is on this side of the earth as it's spinning, right? Because the sun never moves. The sun always stays right here. Stars do not move and the sun is a star. So do you see how this part of the earth is lit up? It's really bright over here, right? But this side of the earth, it's really dark. So as it spins, right now, over here, these people are in the light in the daytime, right? But as it goes and it goes and it goes around, it gets darker and darker. Now, there's no sun over here. So what part of the day do you think it is over here? Is it daytime or nighttime? It's nighttime, right? There's no sun. Think about what happens when it's dark outside. It's nighttime. You go to sleep. And then it continues to rotate and rotate and rotate until it gets to be the daytime again. All right, so I am going to find Texas. And I'm going to put a sticky note on Texas. Actually, I'm going to, let's see here. All right, I'm going to put a sticky note on Texas. Texas is right here. I hope that doesn't fall off. Okay, so you can see I put the purple sticky note on Texas. Okay, so if, oh no, it's gonna fall. Hold on, let me tape it more. here's Texas. Right now, Texas is kind of looking at the sun. So it's daytime in Texas, and the Earth spins this way. So as we go throughout our day, it gets darker, right? So right in the morning, the sun is starting to come up, and it starts off kind of light, but kind of dark still. And then think about when it's time for recess. The sun is really bright as it can be during recess time, because we are directly pointing at the sun. Then as the day goes on, after school, it starts to get a little bit darker, and eventually the sun sets. So here, we're kind of at the time where the sun starts setting, because the sun's way over here, but we're still moving. Here in Texas, we're still moving. And then our day keeps going, and then it's nighttime. It's actually perfectly, when we are directly on the other side from the sun, that's midnight. That's 12 o'clock at night. And then we keep going throughout our day. We keep going. We're now on the way back side of the Earth over here. And we're starting to have some sunlight come up. Wait to see when Texas comes up. There it is. You see the purple? So now we're directly facing the sun again. So this, if this is 12 o'clock midnight, this is actually 12 o'clock in the afternoon. This is noon. So that means halfway between 12 o'clock midnight and 12 o'clock noon is 6 o'clock. So when we're on this half of the Earth, if we're way in the back here where you can't see, this is 6 o'clock in the morning. And the sun is starting to come up. Right here is noon. Right here is 6 o'clock at night. Think about what you're doing at 6 o'clock at night and what the sun looks like. And then here is midnight. You should be asleep. So it takes one day for the Earth to spin around one time. It takes one day for the Earth to rotate a full turn. All right, so I want you to think about, if I'm in Dallas, Texas, right here, what time is it? It's noon. It's 12 o'clock in the afternoon. If I am all the way on this side, and it's really dark over here because the sun's over there, it's midnight. Very good. So we can also kind of see how this part, up here we have like Greenland and lots of those places that are kind of cold. This part doesn't ever really directly face the sun. So that's why it's so cold up there. It's so cold at the North Pole and the South Pole because it doesn't face the sun as much. It's always a little bit tilted away. All right, so now we are going to learn a little bit more. We're going to take some notes. So thanks so much for listening. I hope this helped you visualize the Earth and the sun.